And my third anniversary dinner, Chloe, his mistress, showed up. This time, I didn't back down. Instead, I shoved Chloe into the tiered cake and turned to leave Hayes. Everyone said it was impossible for me to truly leave Hayes, that I'd be back, tail between my legs, in a few days. Marcus, with another woman in his arms, scoffed, where else could she go after leaving Hayes? No one worried about me. They were convinced I was just a caged canary, incapable of surviving without my luxurious lifestyle, and would soon return to beg his forgiveness. It wasn't until he saw me on the news that he realized the caged canary in his palm had flown away. He wanted me back, but he didn't know that a caged canary, once it learns to fly, never returns to its cage. It was our third wedding anniversary. Amidst everyone's flattery and compliments, I picked up the knife to cut the cake with Marcus. The long serrated knife had barely touched the frosting when Marcus let go of my hand. Under everyone's gaze, Chloe slowly walked up to my husband. "Today's our anniversary. You have some nerve showing up," he said. Marcus had a doting smile on his face, and his words carried no hint of blame. "Today is your wedding anniversary, but it's also our first anniversary of being together, darling. Shouldn't we celebrate?" David, the company vice president, chimed in. "Grace has always been generous. She surely won't mind, right? The more, the merrier. It's quite normal for a successful man to have a few women around. Grace comes from a prominent family, she must understand. Everyone in our circle knows how magnanimous Grace is. Why not just invite her to live at Hayes? You two sisters can take care of Mr. Marcus together. That would be perfect." The people around me openly mocked me. They knew that even if I was angry, I couldn't threaten them. What right did a caged canary have to show Hayes any displeasure? As it happens, my wife hasn't been feeling well recently and needs to go to a wellness retreat. Hayes can't be without a mistress. Marcus shot me a contemptuous glance and reached out to put his arm around Chloe's waist. I stepped between them and seized Chloe's wrist. Hayes possessed an heirloom diamond bracelet, one that only the mistress of Hayes was entitled to wear. On my wedding day, Eleanor had personally placed this heirloom diamond bracelet on my wrist. I had always treasured it as my most precious possession, but a month ago, the bracelet disappeared. Now, that heirloom diamond bracelet was on Chloe's wrist. It didn't care about the reputation of Hayes. Why should I bother trying to uphold it? I was tired. It was time for everything to end. With a forceful shove, Chloe, who had been flaunting the bracelet, stumbled backward and fell directly into the tiered cake. Watching flounder helplessly in the cake, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I hadn't felt this happy since I got married. "You dare lay a hand on my woman? Who gave you the audacity?" Marcus, feeling humiliated, raised his hand to strike me. I acted first, pushing him away with all my strength. My goodness, she dared to hit Mr. Marcus. Grace must be insane. Feeling fury, the guests quickly found excuses to leave. It was just a joke. "You're so tactless, don't you feel ashamed?" Chloe was helped up by a hotel waiter and walked pitifully to Marcus's side. "Grace, please don't worry. I never intended to replace you. I truly love Marcus so much. Even without a title, just being by his side. No, even if I could just glimpse him from afar every day, I'd be content." Marcus had a mild case of germophobia. He'd erupt at the servants if he saw a speck of dust at home. Yet now, he didn't seem to mind Chloe being covered in cake, and even dotingly used a handkerchief to wipe her face. I knew it was time for this to end. Without a word, I turned and walked away. Marcus was enraged. He didn't care that I'd ruined the anniversary or pushed Chloe. What he resented was that I dared to defy him, dared to lay a hand on him. He considered himself the head of Hayes, its absolute monarch, and I had tarnished his crown. In his eyes, my failure to meekly apologize and humbly beg his forgiveness was a direct challenge to his authority. My wife's mental state hasn't been good lately. Send her to a lavish estate in Switzerland for a few months of rest and recovery. He glanced at the ruined cake. Grace is on a diet. No meals needed on the plane. Hunger helps one clear their head. Since we started dating, Marcus always had to be the one to leave first. This time was no different. At Manor, everyone knew Marcus harbored resentment towards me. As his nominal wife, I had become someone everyone could easily disrespect. I waited in the parking lot for half an hour before the driver unhurriedly approached. On the way home, the driver often glanced at me in the rearview mirror. I knew he wanted to see me cry, to have something to gossip about tomorrow. I was surprisingly calm, my face devoid of any expression. Back at home, I heard Marcus and Chloe's unrestrained laughter. We had been sleeping in separate rooms for a long time. My closet only contained my clothes, so packing was convenient. No one knew that Grace, the seemingly glamorous Mrs. Hayes, had signed a prenuptial agreement. Not a single penny of Hayes's immeasurable wealth belonged to me. I married you because my mother insisted. This forced marriage, you are destined not to be happy. Those were Marcus's words to me on our wedding night. In an arranged marriage, no one considered the feelings of the newlyweds. But I truly loved him. From the moment Robert and I first came to Hayes and I met him, I was captivated. 3 years was enough time to warm a stone, but not enough to melt his heart. Once, I fell and injured my knee in the garden. Marcus, despite his germophobia, didn't recoil. He used a handkerchief to clean my wound and carried me to get it treated. Today, as I left Hayes, that handkerchief I had cherished was tossed into the trash. I randomly chose Riverbend on a map and began my new life. The jewelry, clothes, and credit cards Hayes had given me, I left all of them behind at Hayes. What truly belonged to me was only the $200,000 from the inheritance Robert had left me. I bought a car and became an Uber driver. Everyone envied my life as a wealthy socialite, yet they didn't know I was merely a caged canary in Marcus's palm. Now, I could drive anywhere, enjoying the freedom I hadn't possessed since my marriage. I could eat fries with my hands, without worrying about so-called high society etiquette. When I was happy, I could laugh freely, without caring about the face of a prominent family. I could chat with passengers without having to guess their intentions. Only after losing it did I realize how precious freedom was. While driving, I met a particularly interesting young man. His name was Alex, and he was on a graduation trip. His demeanor exuded a unique carefree spirit that made me feel a surge of vitality. It reminded me that I, too, was a young person. Alex took photos of me with his camera, promising to give them to me next time we met. I agreed verbally, but inwardly, I didn't think much of it. The city was so big, we likely wouldn't meet again. After dropping him off, I saw a stray dog on the street corner. I used to have a pet dog named Bella. The very next day, Marcus brought a pet cat home. His friend, traveling abroad, had asked him to foster it. To prevent Bella from bothering the cat he brought home, he had Bella discarded, despite my objections. From the pet cat's accessories, I could tell its owner was a woman. Discarding his wife's pet just to please Chloe. This was what the husband I once deeply loved had done. After that, I never owned another pet. I considered adopting it, but ultimately gave up the idea. I bought bread and sausage for the poor little thing and then left. I was a wanderer myself now. How could I properly care for it? I hadn't expected to run into Alex again. To be precise, he saw my car first and waved to me from the street. "Sis, we meet again. Look, I took some pretty good pictures of you, didn't I?" I took the photos, a sense of wonder in my heart. Fate really is a strange thing. "Alright, I'm going birdwatching. Want to come along?" "What's so interesting about birds?" "This is a spot I finally tracked down. I promise you won't regret it." Alex gave directions, and we soon arrived at the foothills. The surroundings were a bit desolate. If it had been anyone else, I would have certainly found an excuse to drive away. But gave me an inexplicable sense of security, allowing me to trustingly follow him. The nearby wetlands are a bird sanctuary. The birds return at dusk, and this spot is right on their way home. Birdwatching, I'd heard people talk about it. I felt a sense of novelty. The waiting was long, so we sat on the mountaintop and chatted. My story could be summed up in a single sentence. Married into a prominent family, found no happiness, mustered the courage, and fled that home. Alex's life, in contrast, was far more exciting than mine. He came from a family with a legacy in pharmaceuticals and natural health products, operating a well-known pharmaceutical company. He himself was very diligent, graduated from a prestigious university, and had participated in many social activities, telling me a lot of new things. After graduation, I felt lost. My Henry, Michael, Sarah, and uncle all wanted me to take over the family business. But with my personality, I can't stand the idea of being stuck in an office every day. I want to be a traveling doctor, travel around, and treat those in need. Hearing that he wanted to evade his family's search, I felt a strange pang of bitterness. Marcus was probably celebrating that I, his inconvenient burden, had left. I didn't want to talk about it and began to change the subject. "Will we see any birds today?" "I don't know. The greatest joy of birdwatching is its uncertainty. Sometimes we prepare thoroughly, but an unexpected event makes it all for naught. If they come, it's a pleasant surprise. If not, we take it in stride. Isn't that how life is, too?" Yes, just as I never imagined that my encounters with Alex would be so serendipitous. Not seeing each other again is normal, meeting again is a surprise. The birds are back!" Alex excitedly shouted, clutching his binoculars. Seeing me staring blankly at the sky, he remembered he'd only brought one pair. With a firm grip, he separated the binoculars into 2 monoculars and handed me one. "Sit down to watch." I looked at the sandy ground, feeling a bit hesitant. When you're birdwatching, your body unconsciously follows the flock. There are loose rocks everywhere here, it's easy to twist your ankle. Alex gently pulled me down to sit. After marrying Marcus, I became nothing more than a trophy wife for Hayes, my primary role being to accompany him to various social events. My makeup had to be impeccable, my clothes without a single wrinkle. I dared not drink water, dared not sit. Even after escaping that home, I was still unconsciously constrained by high society etiquette. The moment I touched the ground, I felt a relaxation I had never known before. Another string that bound the puppet had broken. At's urging, I raised the binoculars, and the black specks in the distant sky gradually became clear. Watching the birds in the sky, my heart beat faster and faster. This caged canary released from its cage, should also soar freely between heaven and earth like these birds. Having finally escaped Hayes, I shouldn't be trapped by an even larger cage. I should go and see a wider world. A gentle breeze swept over me, and I seemed to breathe in the fragrance of freedom. Big is here." "Big?" Alex nodded excitedly. "In the flock, there's a bird with a few black feathers on its belly. Sis, do you see it? That's Big. I named it." I saw the bird. Alex really was terrible at naming things. "Was this bird your pet once? Or did you feed it?" "I've loved birds since I was little, but I never keep them. I don't want to deprive a bird of its freedom just for my own enjoyment." His words truly resonated with me. Yes, if Marcus had even a shred of love for me, he wouldn't have completely stripped me of my freedom. Big and I don't have any special connection. It's just that when I first started birdwatching, it was the first one I saw. It's a kind of fate between us, which is why I get so excited every time I see it again. Like you encountering me again? You're treating me like a bird, aren't you? Do you secretly have some strange name for me too? Seeing the awkward smile on Alex's face, I knew that rascal must have given me a nickname, and a terribly unflattering one at that. Annoyed, I pinched him, and he exaggeratedly cried out in pain. I couldn't even remember the last time I had played around without a care in the world. The flock of birds arrived quickly and departed just as fast. After the sun set, I reluctantly descended the mountain with Alex. At's invitation, I stepped into his RV, parked at the foothills, to share dinner. Back at my rental apartment, I immediately started searching for information about various cities on my cell phone, wanting to move to a new city and begin a new life. Marcus was a regular in the news. As I browsed online, I naturally came across reports about him. He had always demanded that I uphold the reputation of Hayes, yet he himself didn't care. In fact, he rather enjoyed being in the news for scandals. This time, he was photographed shopping with Chloe again. The woman in the photo wasn't the one from the anniversary dinner. Marcus had a new paramour. Initially, seeing such news would fill me with anger and jealousy, but gradually, I got used to it. Mrs. Hayes's health is poor, she has gone abroad for a wellness retreat. I curled my lip in disgust. I knit the news report about me. Perhaps this would be the last time I appeared in the news. Marcus, in his luxurious office, was also reading reports about himself. These reporters are so unprofessional. They only capture my profile. It completely fails to convey the aura of a successful man like me. After speaking, Marcus glanced at the photo of him and me on his desk. To him, that photo was nothing more than a decoration. When reporters interviewed him, they would deliberately photograph this picture to prove Marcus's sense of family responsibility and help build his public image. His wife had run away, he was furious. If his wife were to leave, it should be because he cast her out, not because she fled on her own. But it didn't matter. He had already frozen all funds in her account and deactivated her subsidiary credit cards. Without money, she would soon return home, humiliated, begging for his forgiveness. His assistant, noticing his gaze, guessed his thoughts. "Mrs. Hayes can't endure life outside, she'll definitely come back." Marcus curled his lip into a scornful sneer. "When she calls, asking you to bring her home, don't go immediately. Let her starve for a few days to truly sober up." I knew Marcus well and could guess his current thoughts. Whatever he thought or did now, it no longer mattered to me. After calling my lawyer to deliver the divorce papers, I continued browsing the web. The aroma of food made my stomach grumble indignantly. After marriage, I diligently played the role of a dutiful wife, signing up for cooking classes just to personally prepare delicious meals for my husband. I spent 2 hours stewing soup for him, to nourish his body. He didn't even taste it. With a glance, he declared that even slop looked more appetizing than this soup, and promptly poured it into a flower pot. I changed the dishes several times, only to receive his relentless mockery, and he even told Mr. Jenkins to take them to feed the dogs. Sis, dinner's ready. This is my specialty. Have a taste. As I sat down to eat, I saw him take a bowl of millet and sprinkle it outside the car. Is that for the birds? Yes, sis. Being a bird is actually quite tough. They have to avoid predators, compete with others of their kind, steer clear of human-made traps, and even after finding food, it might be poisoned, costing them their lives. Even with such harsh living conditions, they persist in surviving. Their bodies may be small, but the vitality they exude is immense. Every time I go birdwatching, I feel I have more strength to fight against fate. How old are you that you're already fighting fate? But I know if you don't eat soon, your stomach will be fighting you. Having such a positive person by my side made me more optimistic as well. Alex was an excellent cook. By the time I put down my chopsticks, I felt completely full. After a few pleasantries, I bid farewell and left. Just as I stood up, the RV door was kicked open. A burly man with a grim expression walked in. With a face like that, he definitely wasn't a good person. What kind of big trouble had this rascal gotten himself into? Seeing the burly man approach, I immediately pulled the pepper spray from my bag. One spray hit the burly man directly in both eyes. I've only ever heard of a hero saving the damsel, but today it seems to be the other way around. At a time like this, he still had the nerve to joke? His optimism was a bit excessive. Run. No sooner had I spoken than several more people burst through the doorway. Alex's smile vanished. No one lays a hand on anyone. You rascal. You even dare to ambush your uncle. Uncle? He's your relative? Is your family a family with a legacy in pharmaceuticals and natural health products, or a mob family? I was surprised at my own words. Under the constraints of haze, my personality had never been this bold. Uncle, I'll explain later. Can you all please step outside for now? The burly man still couldn't open his eyes. Why? Without further ado, he had the others help him and quickly left to get treated. Sis, my family caught me. I guess I have to go home now. Having a family is good. I also wanted to tell you that I'm planning to move to a different city. A different city? Where to? I shook my head. I haven't decided yet. I want to take advantage of my youth to travel more and see more. Just like the flock of birds I saw today. They migrate every year, which is hard work, but they get to see so many more sights. Sis, since you're moving to a new city anyway, why don't you come with me? To my home. It's also a new city. I glanced outside. I'll leave on my own. If fate allows, we'll meet again. Like you said, not meeting is normal, but meeting again is a surprise. Hope is what makes it beautiful. Alex left with his family. I packed my few clothes and went to the new city. I fell in love with being an Uber driver. Wherever I went, I could take online ride requests and earn money. The flexible hours didn't interfere with my exploring the local scenery. I had already decided, once I saved enough money to live in the next city, I would leave this one. I pulled over to the side of the road, eating ice cream while browsing tourist information for another city on my cell phone. The car door opened. Excuse me, this isn't a taxi. I only take online ride requests. What if it's someone you know? Can you make an exception? The familiar voice made my heart skip a beat. It was Alex. Sis, we truly are destined to meet again. Suppressing the joy in my heart, I said, this isn't fate, you actively sought me out, didn't you? Any meeting is fate, so why fuss over how we met? Sis, I just arrived and don't know any good birdwatching spots. What a coincidence, I happen to know a place. I drove him to a park. Seeing him take out the disassembled binoculars, I smiled and produced the other half. In that moment, I felt as if strings were once again wrapping around me. Before, they were constraints. This time, it felt like a red thread of destiny. Sis, I brought this for you. Alex took a seat cushion from his bag and spread it on the ground. It was the first time anyone had cared for me so attentively. This time, the birds didn't come. Uncertainty was also a part of the joy of birdwatching. The absence of the birds didn't dampen Alex and my spirits, so we simply explored the park. Seeing an arcade shooting game, I excitedly ran over. It had been so long since I'd played that I was rusty. After shooting for a while, I barely hit the target a few times. Wow, you're amazing. A young lady earning so many points, first prize. Here's your prize. I looked at the vendor as if he were an idiot as he handed me the largest plush toy. I wasn't a novice, I knew the game rules and how many times I'd actually hit the target. If this qualified for first prize, the vendor should have gone bankrupt long ago. As took out his camera to take a photo of me with the prize, I understood. While I was shooting, Alex had a quiet word with the vendor. He must have paid the vendor, secretly buying the prize for me to win first place. I was happy, not because I'd won a dishonest game, but because, finally, there was someone in this world willing to put thought into making me happy. I had always loved playing arcade shooting games. Before went abroad, she noticed the coldness between Marcus and me, and suggested we take walks in the park together to foster our relationship. At the park, I saw an arcade shooting game and playfully begged to play. Marcus agreed, and though his face was cold, I was still happy. I wanted to show off my skills to my beloved, concentrating all my focus on aiming. As I shot again and again, Marcus impatiently checked his watch repeatedly. I won second prize. It was the first time I had ever won. Excitedly, I waved the plush toy I'd won in front of him, wanting to place it on our nightstand. Marcus snatched it away and casually gave it to a nearby Cheel. These carnival prizes are poor quality and full of germs. Don't ever touch such junk again, it lowers the taste of haze. And go find somewhere to thoroughly wash your hands and disinfect them, or don't get in my car. I started looking for work online. I needed more income. I naturally understood Alex's feelings for me, and in my heart, I was willing to accept him. But I didn't want to be a caged canary anymore, nor a decoration hung around a man's neck. I wanted to be financially independent, not reliant on Alex. Alex strongly supported my decision. According to him, women who stay at home all the time become disconnected from society and eventually turn into resentful wives. I graduated from a prestigious university, but after graduating, I got married and never worked. I sent out several resumes, but heard nothing back. While online, I saw another scandalous report about Marcus. As expected, he had changed female companions again. The difference was, the photo showed him opening the car door for Chloe. When I was Mrs. Hayes, he would order me to open the car door. After the car stopped, I, like a chauffeur, would get out and trot to the other side of the car to open his door. I never imagined that the high and mighty Mr. Marcus would open a car door for Chloe. My continued absence led to various speculations about my whereabouts in the news. Isn't that Marcus, the one with the eye problem? I looked at Alex, who had come closer, feeling a bit confused. He has an eye disease? How did I not know? He can't see such a good wife, doesn't appreciate her. If you tell me there's nothing wrong with his eyes, I won't believe it. I was amused. I noticed Alex's expression seemed off, so I stopped smiling. What's wrong? Your Grace, the Mrs. Hayes everyone's speculating about online, aren't you? That's me, but I'm not anymore. When my lawyer delivered the divorce papers to Marcus, he was so furious he tore them to shreds. He then had his lawyer draft a new set, signed them, and gave them to my lawyer. In his view, only he could reject me. I had no right to reject him. Even a divorce had to be initiated by him. Then, would you be willing to become Mrs. Kai? Alex's sudden proposal left me a bit flustered. He told me his family wanted him to enter an arranged marriage, and my heart began to waver. When we received our marriage certificate, it felt unreal, almost like a dream. Alex and I boarded a plane back to Alex's family home. I hadn't expected that, after all the twists and turns, I would ultimately return to the city where I once lived. The difficulties and criticisms I had imagined never materialized. Michael and Sarah were very welcoming to me. Grandpa was also very pleased, and even Uncle, whom I had sprayed with pepper spray, praised my courage, saying I was fearless and dared to protect Alex. Grandpa has agreed to let me open a bird museum. You don't need to look for a job anymore. You already have a new one, you're the director. I never imagined I would have a career of my own. Alex contacted many friends in the birdwatching community, and the bird museum was quickly prepared. The museum's establishment was beneficial for promoting bird conservation, so the media conducted extensive publicity. After the ribbon-cutting ceremony, reporters began to interview me. Before, I was just a backdrop for Marcus. Today, I was the focus of the camera's attention. Facing reporters' questions and the gaze of countless onlookers, my throat went dry with nervousness, and I couldn't utter a single word. Alex squeezed my hand. Some hatchlings, after their mothers push them out of the nest, only then realize they can fly. Don't be nervous. You can do this. After taking this step, you'll realize how simple it actually is to cross over. With standing beside me, a surge of courage rose in my heart. I smiled and answered each question the reporters asked. In that moment, I could finally fly on my own. Under his icy gaze, the Assistant's forehead grew increasingly beaded with cold sweat. Yet, he couldn't get through to the number he wished to call on his cell phone. Useless. You're dismissed. Don't let me see you again. Mr. Marcus, Mrs. Hayes's cell phone must have been stolen. I'll find another way to contact her. Get out. Marcus smashed the wine glass in his hand, terrifying the assistant into a hasty retreat. He had just seen the news. That face was identical to his wife's, yet he still refused to believe it. His caged canary, after leaving his control, had become resplendent. Wasn't this a direct slap in his face? Mr. Jenkins handed him a glass of wine. Sir, is the person in the news really Mrs. Hayes? Impossible. That useless woman who stood behind him, stammering when asked questions by reporters, couldn't possibly speak fluently in front of a camera. That timid woman, who looked so pitiful and dared not make a sound when she walked, couldn't possibly stand tall in front of so many people. Most importantly, that woman whom he found inherently irritating could not exude an aura that would captivate him. It wasn't her. It couldn't be her. Marcus answered with utmost confidence, yet a disquieting thought persistently nagged at him. He needed to find Chloe and demand a clear explanation face to face. Go find her and tell her I'm tired of waiting. Tell her to get back here, willingly. The museum had just opened, and there was a lot to do. Alex, following his family's arrangements, had returned to the family business and had a lot on his plate as well. Both of us were very busy, but neither of us wanted to neglect the other because of work. After work each day, browsing the farmer's market together was what made us happiest. After being with Alex, the culinary skills I had painstakingly acquired finally had a chance to shine. I had just picked up a stalk of celery when an obnoxious voice reached my ears. Mrs. Hayes, it's time you came home. I cast a glance at Mr. Jenkins, who had often bullied me. Marcus and I are already divorced. Mrs. Hayes, you've made your point, you should be satisfied. Sir is already very displeased, so his displeasure has nothing to do with me. Mr. Jenkins tried to speak again, but Alex immediately stepped in front of me. She is my wife now. Who are you to call her that? In Jenkins's eyes, I was a punching bag anyone could bully. He had never shown me an ounce of respect. He thought that with just a few words, this poor wretch who had endured so many hardships outside, would cry and beg to go back with him. That's why he came alone this time, without bodyguards. When he saw Alex intervene, this old sycophant, who only dared to bully the meek, chose to back down and quietly step aside. Sir, it seems Mrs. Hayes has a husband. Marcus, reeking of alcohol, appeared before me. He must have been at a business dinner and rushed over after getting the news. This time, he brought several men with him. Come home with me. Alex once again shielded me, saying, speak to my wife with respect. Marcus narrowed his eyes, a dangerous glint within them. You dare to steal my woman? Don't you owe me an explanation? You're divorced. She's a free woman. What explanation do I owe you for pursuing her? Marcus glared at me coldly. I can divorce you, and I can remarry you. You've caused enough trouble and had your fun, haven't you? Come home with me. Why should I let you dictate my life so carelessly? Because worked for Hayes. He raised you with the salary Hayes paid him. Because after Robert died, Hayes paid for your university tuition. Because I gave you a life of wealth. His shamelessness made me laugh bitterly. Robert earning a salary for his work was only right. And that wealthy life, did you ever ask if it was what I truly wanted? As for university tuition, I was married to you for 3 years, you shamed and tormented me for 3 years. That should more than cover it, shouldn't it? Marcus couldn't believe I dared to defy him. He was so enraged his fingers trembled slightly. Once you entered Hayes, you were Marcus's woman in life, and in death, you will be buried in Hayes's family mausoleum. Your woman must be buried in Hayes's family mausoleum? Is Manor's family mausoleum not big enough? I doubt it could fit so many women. Many bystanders took out their cell phones to record, causing Marcus to feel utterly humiliated. He lunged at me, raising his arm. The last time he tried to hit me, I pushed him away. This time, if he tried again, I wouldn't hold back either. Smack. After a crisp sound, Marcus clutched his face, staring at me in disbelief. She dared to hit me? This lowly woman dared to hit me? Are you all dead? Can't you see Sir got hit? Attack. Amidst Jenkins's shrill shouts, the bodyguards Marcus had brought charged forward simultaneously. Alex, to protect me, fought them off. Seeing him kicked to the ground by the bodyguards, my eyes turned red. I grabbed a pineapple from a nearby stall and slammed it hard onto Marcus's head. The police arrived quickly and separated us. Marcus was furious. After a quick treatment of his wound, He bellowed that he refused reconciliation, would sue, and send me to prison. After Grandpa made a phone call to him, Marcus immediately quieted down. Hayes's wealth far surpassed Alex's family's, but Grandpa was a renowned doctor who knew many influential figures. When the two families squared off, Hayes was no match. Watching leave in disgrace, I finally saw him for what he was, nothing more than a paper tiger, just like his Mr. Jenkins and other sycophants, only brave enough to bully the weak. Once the museum was on track, Alex and I began planning our wedding. At my previous wedding, I was merely a puppet, obediently fulfilling all of Hayes's demands. This time Alex and I carefully prepared everything together, exactly as we wished. As I was finalizing the menu at the upscale restaurant, Marcus appeared before me. Oh. NCE more. A wave of smug satisfaction washed over me as I saw the pineapple-inflicted injury on his face. Grace, let's remarry. I promise I'll treat you well from now on. I'm sorry, I'm already married. I wouldn't want my husband to misunderstand, so please, have some self-respect. Marcus pulled some documents from his bag. This is a revised prenuptial agreement I've drawn up. If you remarry me, you'll have half of the assets of Hayes. I picked up the contract, didn't even bother to look at it, and tore it to shreds. You're humiliating me. You've always believed I married you for the wealth of Hayes. But have you ever considered, if that were my intention, would I have signed a prenuptial agreement? Marcus froze for a moment, a look of shame crossing his face. Perhaps only now did he realize I married him for love, not for money. My mother's health hasn't been good lately. Aren't you worried she'll be so distressed by the news of our divorce that her body won't be able to take it? Marcus's mother had always been kind to me, and even after we married, she would reprimand Marcus. But after a while, Eleanor tacitly condoned Marcus's mistreatment of me. Between a son and a daughter-in-law, Eleanor would always choose to side with her son. She's your mother. I have no connection to her anymore. And furthermore, using your own mother as a bargaining chip to threaten someone else, Mr. Marcus, don't you feel ashamed? I suggested visiting the kitchen and left with the upscale restaurant manager. Marcus stood rooted to the spot, stunned. He was waiting for me to turn back. But he was mistaken. He was no longer worth turning back for. Bonus, Marcus's perspective. My mother always said that Grace's father had saved my father, Robert's, life. I was so annoyed. When an employer is in danger, isn't it the driver's job to help? Besides, my father gave him a significant reward. We at Hayes owe nothing to a driver. I came home drunk, and Grace helped me. That night, I took her into the bedroom. My mother was furious when she found out and insisted I marry her. She also brought up Grace's family's debt of gratitude to ours. After both my father and Grace's father passed away, the matter should have been closed. Always bringing up that debt of gratitude was so annoying. Under my mother's coercion, I had no choice but to marry Grace. She must have said something to my mother. She definitely wanted a life of luxury, which is why she insisted on marrying me. I'd seen plenty of women like her. I just never expected my mother to intervene, preventing me from getting rid of the problem. Before the wedding, I made her sign a prenuptial agreement. She wasn't going to use marriage to take a single penny from the wealth of Hayes. This woman wanted to be a high society wife, and I would grant her wish, but she would also have to pay a price for it. After we married, I continued my active dating life. I never cared about her feelings, she wasn't worthy of my attention. On our wedding anniversary, I merely chatted with my girlfriend. She actually got angry and dared to storm off. I thought she would return quickly. To my surprise, she learned a lot while she was away and even dared to marry someone else after our divorce. I was furious and wanted to get her back. She actually dared to hit me. I had to remarry her, to make her realize what the consequences of defying me were. I never imagined Grandpa would call me. This woman I had always looked down upon had actually become the Henry family's granddaughter-in-law, someone I couldn't afford to provoke. After I calmed down, I felt as if a piece of my heart was missing. Once she had her own career, she changed. She developed a unique charm. I realized she was an exceptional woman, and my possessiveness had caused her to lose the brilliance she was meant to have. I regretted it and wanted her back. But she simply refused. I wanted to make amends for my mistakes, but I didn't even get a chance. He walked away with such confidence. A piece of my heart would always be missing, and it could never be repaired. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.